Hello future tech leaders, I am Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
Alright, then today we are going to talk about data types. Data type is a kind of a very big topic in itself. Till now, we have covered right case types where we have to give the classes, we have to check which is organization, what is application layer, what is a division layer, what is a unit layer. Same thing happens with the data type. Whenever we create a data type, we have to check for the reusability. For example, employee records. Employee records should exist at the organization layer. Because in our organization, we can create multiple case types. Those employee details should be accessible in all those case types. Same way, we have to do some logic part here, that which layer should go at which place. Now, data type basically is a collection of single values, value list and group of fields. Group of fields as in page property or the page list. Because till now, if you remember, we are creating properties directly in the case type like first name, last name. They are not in the data type. For example, let me share. If I go to case type, go to insurance. If you see, here we are creating this data model inside the case type. Right. But suppose if I will create one more case type here, let's say this is insurance. I will create one more. That data model will be different. But customer name address, these are kind of generic terms. It should be accessible on the organization layer. It's a very bad practice to create properties directly on the cases which are reusable. That's why PEGA provided us a concept that is our data type. Data type, we can create and reuse the fields. When we start creating data type, there are a couple of things that we have to, sort in mind first. First thing is first, we have to understand the business scenario. Suppose right now we are talking about the insurance. With respect to insurance, we have to identify the data objects. For example, when we are dealing with insurance, what kind of data objects we can think of? We can think of a customer details. Because definitely a customer is going to sign up for the particular policy. Then we can think of a policy because insurance is all about policies, right? The company is selling many different kinds of policy, term insurance, health insurance, car insurance, auto insurance, all those stuff. We will be captured everything in a policy detail data object. Similarly, we are creating one data object for the address. And I am creating one more for the watch list. Watch list as in suppose sometime there are fraud customers, right? They want to use some fake documents or they use some illegal attachments just to skip the credit check. In insurance department, we have an audit team, the credit check team. They will find that and then they will put that customer to the fraud watch list. Now this part, we are clear. The data object basically a collection or a data object of attributes. Now, attribute is nothing but the properties. If you see here customer details, right? Customer detail as a whole is a data object which contain attributes. Attributes is nothing but properties like customer ID, full name, date of birth, phone number, email, and address. Now address. Here is a page property which refers to one more data type, that is address. Because data type, we have to enforce the reusability. If you see, here I've mentioned one class data address postal. This class is packed in the out of the box tool, where we have these properties street, zip code, and state. Why to create again same thing in our own data type? We can reuse it, right? That's why we are linking this address property with this existing class, that we can reuse these properties. Similarly, policy detail is a data object which have these four fields: policy number, issue date, payment mode, and policy type. Now, I have mentioned two things here. One is abstract and another one is a concrete. Whenever we create a class in PEGA, we have two types: concrete class and abstract class. Concrete class, you can understand in this way. When the particular class has an instance or a data associated with it that needs to be saved in DB, then it is a concrete class. But if there is no data or no instances that needs to be saved into DB, then it is an abstract class. Now, when we are talking about the data type, we also need to talk about the source of records. Because sometime if you say right now, in PEGA application, we are capturing the customer details, full name, date of birth, even policy detail also. But in a real-time scenario, there might be chances that some of the details are coming from a third-party system. Right. Maybe there is a third-party vendor who is providing some functionality, or they are a service provider for anything. Like the claims department is completely, running outside the organization. In those cases, we can link our data type with the existing tables. External tables. This is just an introduction part of the data type. To now what we understood, what is the data type? What is the abstract class? Which doesn't have instances, which doesn't need data to be persisted in the database. That is abstract class concrete. We have to save the data and we have to save the instances in the database. That is a concrete source of record, is where actually the data is stored. If we are saving the data in PEGA, then PEGA is the source of record. If data is saved in external table, then external table is the source of record. It's just we have to point our data type to that right source. We can access the data. Then data type is created to enforce the reusability. That right attributes were created at the right layer. That within the organization structure, everyone can use it properly. For example, I have possibility that I can create these address here itself. Right? Because address is a part of a customer. But instead of creating these properties again here, I am using an existing data type or an existing class, that is a data address postal. Here by default, PEGA giving me these properties: street, house number, zip code, and state. This is just an introduction part. Now let's jump onto the PEGA screen. Now, if you see, till now we haven't worked on this data type tab. We are only checking the case type. We are going through the classes in the App Explorer. Expanding this leaf icon. We are creating properties and rules from here. Now let's go to data type. This is a data type explorer. If you see at the top, we have icon, where we have these options. Show or hide existing data type. Add data type. Show case type. Rest. View external data entities. View all test cases. Currently, we are talking about the add data type. I will click on the add data type. Let's say now we are going to create customer details. Currently, we are creating a customer details data object. Now you see it is giving us the class structure. Customer details parent classes, Care Life Care App, and identifier classes, customer detail. Because this is the name, I will create it now. For the first time, when we create a data type, this is the initial screen. Here you see we have couple of tabs. Data model tab is there, where we can create the associated properties for this data type. Then we have the usage. Usage is more about the data pages. Data pages we will cover tomorrow. Then we have the source. Like if we are going to link it with external table or through a local source. Then those configuration we are going to do here. Then the records. Once we configure the source as in, that means we are going to save the data, right? If it is a local source, then in PEGA itself we are going to save that record. Those records will be saved here. Now views. Data views is completely same as a case type views, where you have to create a view. You have to select the fields and then you can add it into the work screen. Let's go with the data model tab first. As we have discussed here, right? Let me show you. Let's add field like this way. Data object or create. Let me delete this. I will show you a different way. Under this data type, I will create a data type for the watch list. At least I can show you source of record there. Broad watch list. Watch list is in our application. Now let's suppose in watch list, we are using fields like custom ID. Let's say audit check found out that there are particular customer IDs. This is text, which seems fraud. Now fraud type. I will make this as pick list. Let's say invalid document. Fake profile. Fake credit score. Let's talk about only these two fields. We created a data type, or we can say a data object of name fraud watchlist, which is of this particular class, and inside that data type we are creating two attributes, or we can say two properties, that is customer ID and fraud type. If you see here, this is empty as of now. No data page, no property reference, no undefined pages. We'll come to this later. Let's come to the source now. Now this data type has no source, but we are going to store all these fraud watch list in PEGA application, because in PEGA application, only we are getting this data. It's better to maintain this rather than in an external system. I'll create a local source. If you see one thing here, whenever we create a data type, what exactly we are doing? Basically, I make a note also here. Whenever we create a data type from the data type wizard, it will create a concrete class. It's a default method that whenever you create a data type from here, when you go to this data type explorer, you add data type, then it will be of the concrete class. Next thing is that when we create a data type, it will define a database table at the backend. And now we are defining the columns of the table that needs to be visible. Right? We already created a table with that particular class. Now we are selecting which column should be visible in the table. Now let's say customer ID is the primary key. I'll select this primary key. I created two properties here. The rest of the properties are the common properties across any data type. These are the out-of-the-box properties. That's why you can't even see the delete icon because you see system fields cannot be removed. Now if I come down, you will see single list and savable data pages are generated. That means these are the out-of-the-box rule which PEGA is creating for us to use. We will not discuss this today. Then, in which data type or in which database we are creating a table with these two columns. That is customer data for now. And I guess PEGA is providing 2 or 3 data types. 3. Customer data, PEGA data and PEGA data reporting. Tomorrow we will also talk about the databases too. For now I will only select customer data. Now I will submit. This is a wizard, basically. Data type wizard, we call it as. It's a review mode where you can see customer ID is there, which is a primary key. Fraud type is there with text property. If you click on view detail, you can see one database table is created. This database table is mapped with this particular class. And these are some out-of-the-box rule which is created during this wizard, like one report definition created. One data page is created. One list data page is created. And one savable data page is created. Let's close this. Now you see option is gone. But if I come to the records tab now, I can add data here. Now you see here, source as local data source. If I go to action, I can click on show database information. Database is customer data. Table mapping is this one, this particular class. And the table name is this one. Now let's add one record here. I'll add a one. I'll add a syrup. Let's keep it in valid tab. Now add record. This is a customer ID. This one, I'll change it to fake profile. I'll add a 2 record. But suppose in future you want to add 10 talons in records. It will be very difficult, right? To manually go. Click on this icon and then add record. To sort out this problem, PEGA provides us this export and import feature. If I export this one, just a second, it is opening. If you see, this data is here. But suppose I want to add one more row. I'll add a 3. Same thing. I'll copy this one. That's it. Keep it in 3. Now I'll try to import this same. I'll import this same. Now, when I clicked on import, if you see we have a sources, dot, CSA and add or update, that means it will take the primary key. If the primary key in an existing record or in the CSV file exists, then it will update the record. If there is new field which primary key is not there in the table, then it will add a record. Apart from that, you can go for add only and delete also. But right now we only go for this. Choose file. Let's say which one I need to look for. What happened? Is it stuck? Let's go. Reason. Oh, it's not a CSV. I think my system converted to a different format. 1 second. A Fimbo. Alright, we did it and it's a computer unfree. Now when the Romeo can walk a Copperstein note. My system. I don't have the MS Office. I have this thing. I'm trying to add a 3 again. Let's see if I can save as that CSV. Yes, let's try to input once again. Add or update, choose file descents. Yep, it is not taking through the out-of-the-box tools, no worries. But it would go like when you import, a new row will be added here. Yes, through exit. And now, if you see we have these two records in our PEGA internal database, right? That means even in my case also when we are creating the form right at that moment. Also, I can use this data that if any person with the same customer ID tries to create the case, we should ignore it or we could reject it because it is an invalid or it is a fraud type as per the fraud type. If I talk about view, it is the same thing, but let's create it. Once I go to fields, I added fraud type and customer ID fraud type. I need to refresh customer ID fraud type. I created a new view. This view is added. Now if you see, this view is a part of our data fraud watch list, but if you see our case type, classes, care, life care, work. That is a work class, work insurance. Both are different, right? One is a work class, another data class. To create a link or to create a bridge between this, we have to create a page property. That also we will see. I'll rename this view as a code list. I'll rename this view as a code list. I'll rename this view as a code list. In this data type, we have covered that we created a concrete class. We created a concrete class and we added 2 attributes, and we also created PEGA as a source. That's why the particular option is now not coming because is enabled. Once it is enabled, then you can add the records and we can see what is the table name that linked with this particular class. And we also created one view here. Now let's open this class showing App Explorer, and under sysadmin you can see this class. Here you can see select class type, which is concrete. You can change it once it is created. In the class creation only we can check. Either you can select abstract or you can select concrete. Now it is created in which version? 1.0.1.1. This class does not belongs to any class group. Class group is again for reusability. You can make a class group. Then inside the group, if you have any class, those classes can reuse each other's property. Because we created customer id as the key when we configured the table view. Customer id key name is coming now as per class. Inheritance, the parent classes, here life care data, here life care data. Now, if you see test connection, this is to check if this class is linked with that table or not. I click on the test connection. If you see here class, this is mapped to the table. This in customer data. That means it is mapped successfully. Now I'll close this one. I'll close this one too. Till now, we have created one data type for fraud watch list, which is of concrete and where PEGA is a source of record. Now let's create customer detail as an abstract class, because customer details we are not storing as of now in the database. It just when customer will enter the detail, then we will save it inside the data or inside the case. I'll create an abstract data class. Let's say I'll go to create sysadmin, then class. I'll create a class like care, and customer. This time I'll make customer fees because customer details created. I am creating this inside the organization. If you see inside the life care I am creating, or I can create at any level, even in that care dash customer fees, but I am creating it care customer fees. Now create and open. This is a new class rule form. If you see right now, I have both options, abstract and concrete. But I need to create an abstract class, now created in version that is 0101. Find by class, name is pattern. This is a scare. If required, I can change it to data dash. Data dash is a out of the ops data layer. I'll save it. Wait, I need to put data also here, otherwise I won't be able to use it in the case. I will keep here like care data customer. Now, this is inside the organization because inside here only we are creating a data layer of customer. Abstract version is 001. This is fine, or else we can only go for care dash data. Let's see. This is giving error. This record has two errors. Description, value cannot be blank. Usage cannot be blank. Let's go to history and update history. Value created to store customer attributes. Create will store customer attributes. Usage will also be same. Now I will save it. My new class is created perfectly. Now, if I come to this data type, you see fraud watch list is there. But this thing is not coming because fraud watch list I have created through the data type wizard, like come to this data type and then configure the properties and sorts, then it will come here. Then it will come here. But this is I create manually. It will not come for this one. PEGA provide this option. Show or hide existing data types. I will click on this one. These are the selected. I click on view all. Let's see which results. This one. We created here data customer. I will add and see it is enabled. Now I close this form. Click on this data type. Right now, fields are not there. Let's add some of the fields full name, or we can say the customer it text full name. We can create phone number which is of type phone email. Then this only will create customer it full name, phone number, email address. We are not creating for now address, we will create later. No usage is not there. Nothing is there. Source is not there. But this time you see one option, this abstract class will be changed to concrete. That means abstract class don't have source configuration. If you want to, you can, but it will change the class type to concrete again, which we don't want. We are not creating any source. There won't be any records. Also here, let's create view. I will go to fields customer id, full name, phone number and image. I will keep this name as customer view. I will save this thing now. In this data type, we have created an abstract class which doesn't hold any records in the database. Then we created the attributes and we created a view. Now we will utilize this view and fraud watch list view in our case, because suppose if we are creating anything at the organization level, but those will be reused at the application level only, right? Now let's go to the case type, insurance and data model. Here we have to link. Now, all these things are not required. First name, full name at this level, because I already created at the data type. Even if I have 10 case types, still I don't have to create everything here. I can reuse it. I will click Add Field. Now suppose this I will make like first details. I will cross this thing. Now let's come to this part, user reference. This I mentioned that we will cover these 4 things later: user reference, case reference, data reference and embedded reference. Let me minimize this. If you see here, user reference means it will reference the data from data admin operator it class. Now inside this class, PEGA already provides us these properties like full name, date of birth, phone number, or I can directly show you. Let's go to App Explorer. Let's give the same class data admin operator, operator 8. If you expand data model, if you expand properties, then let's open this whole tab. These are the properties PEGA provides us for using property. Let's filter this property name with name. Report to username. For example, report to username. You can directly use this one user identifier user. Let me see other page. P telephone is there for phone number. We can use this property. A address is there which we can use for address. Similarly, there are a lot of properties which we can directly use from this class. There was one with name also. I can try to find it from here. System pages operator, system pages operator 8. This one by username. It is not showing here anyways, but we can reuse those properties. That is first, its user reference. When you want to use anything because operator aid, that means it will hold the operator related properties only. You can use directly user reference option in that drop down case references. When you want to refer data from the work class, data in references, when you want to refer the data type properties or data type record, then you will select data type reference. Then we have the embedded data to access all data layers. If you see, whenever we create a data type, we have a concrete class and it will be added here, right? Then you can directly use the data reference. But for the abstract classes, you cannot use data reference because it doesn't have any instances. It doesn't have concrete class for them. We have to use the embedded data. This is a kind of a difference that you have to remember all the time. You have to be very clear with this. That user reference, we have to fetch the data from the operator, it case reference from work class, data reference from data type, and embedded data from data layers. Let's come back. Customer field should access data from the abstract class. I will select data layer, that is embedded data, and what is the data type. Name, care data, customer single record and list of record. That means this customer detail can only hold detail of a single customer, right? If yes, then we can select single record. If this can hold multiple customer details in a single case, then we could go for list of records. The difference is when I say single record, it is a page group property like we did for, you can say, a single page for address, and list of record is a page list where we can create a record with unique index, right? For example, employee ID 1, employee ID 2, employee ID 3, like that. But we need a one single customer. I will select single record. Oh, single record, now submit. Let's say I add one more for fraud watch list. I will give like a round list. Now this I can directly go with any one embedded data reference, because data reference also I can access, or embedded data I can access class. Data object, this time set fraud watch list. How many records it will fetch? Single record. If you see, one data page is coming, but I'll not discuss this for now. This is for our tomorrow's topic. I'll simply submit here. Let's see, plus detail and fraud watch list are added. Now let's go to our workflow. Let's go to personal details view. Personally did, and I'll delete this thing because now we are not creating anything at the case level. We already created it. Just we will use. Now I'll go to fields. I created plus details plus icon. Now, if you see, plus detail is created in insurance, which is in a data relationship with the class here data customer. There we created a view. That is a customer view. You remember right in this. Here we created one view, customer view. We are showing same view here. Now create one more. That is a fraud list. Fraud list is here. I click plus here. Fraud list is in data relationship with a fraud watch list data type. That is this one. Cost detail is linked with this one. Fraud list is linked with this one. Here also we create one fraud list. That's a fraud list view. Now I'll submit, I'll save it, and now let's create one case. Now you see customer, ID, phone name, phone number, email. All these things are coming from this care data customer inside the customer view because we have only 4 things here. Same way, the fraud list is coming because this is the read only here. That's why we can't see it personal detail. This is read only tomorrow. We will use this fraud list more in detail that how to show the data because fraud list is data right. You see here we have 2 records. We can show these 2 records directly from this data type to our PEGA case that this will be beneficial for the credit check. Right? Because they are maintaining a list. Suppose I am the fraud again. I am using the same list, same data. Once I have reached the credit check, great check team can check. Oh yes, this customer ID already exists in our fraud list. We will reject this insurance, like that. One more thing. Let me only 2 things I write. Now you understand that this is the client-side validation directly coming on the screen. Let's go to clipboard. If you remember that previously I used to show you the names and all those properties on the PA work page. We used to see first name, last name, here itself, age, date of birth, everything. But now we are not using the case type properties. We are creating the data type. We have to go down. We have a page. You see this custody date inside custody detail. If you click, you will find customer ID, email, full name. Because I haven't saved, data is not coming. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go to clipboard again. Now, data is there, customer ID is there, email is there, full name is there, and phone number is there. If you see it is a better way to show the customer details right. Unlike in the PA work page, it is floating everywhere along with other properties, which make it very clumsy to use. But now you know that all the customer related details I will save inside customer details. If you need anything, you can directly jump onto the particular page and you have the data. Suppose tomorrow you want one more property here, you can add directly inside. The same way we have fraud list. Now, fraud list will be empty for now because that is a read only. That's why nothing is coming. Suppose you want to add record in the fraud type. This is read only, right? But you want to add. What we can do is then, in the case type in the data model, I will create one more. This time will be fraud list editable. I'll name this. Last time I used data reference to show the data, but this time I'll use the embedded data because I want to edit the data. I'll select fraud watch list. I will add a single record at a time. But if you want to add multiple record, list of records, this will also find, let's say, list of records. This is added. I'll go to use personal detail fields I created with fraud list. Edit. I'll click on plus icon. Now this is there. You see, previously it was only data relationship, but now it was data relationship list because I selected multiple records I can add. Let's submit, or I'll add this one. Read only. Well, I'll delete and submit here. Save. Let's create one case. You see how this list is coming now? I can add any number. I can select the fraud type. I can add more item. I can add more IDs and I can select anything. If I save here, I'll show you how this will be shown in clipboard. We have fraud list added. We deleted the previous list from the view. That's why that is not coming if you expand this one. Now you see fraud list of fraud. List of 1. Fraud list of 2. This first row is fraud. List of 1. This is fraud. List of 2. If you click on this one, you see a one-click profile. This one a 3 invalid talks. These are the primary properties which we have to see. Like this data type works. Like this data type works. Any doubt, Francis? No, not for now. Cool if you see. If you see, if you see, if you see. If you see, here till now, we are adding the records, right? But suppose if we need to fetch the record, I'm just giving you a glimpse of our tomorrow's session that we will cover the data pages in the fraud watch list. I have 2 records, but I'm not using this right now. Here I'm writing my own fraud watch list data. But suppose if I want to retrieve the data from the source, because for fraud watch list, because for fraud watch list, PEGA is a source of record. That means I can access this data at any point of time. Tomorrow we will see this part and how to retrieve this and show it into a case. This is a case. And one more thing, this anyways you have seen in different applications. Let's say these are 3 drop-downs. It says country, this is state, and this one is city. In every application you have seen, there is a drop-down for country, and when you select country, the state will be filtered as per the country's selection right. And once you select state, the city data will be filtered. You are getting my point right. For example, if we have, let's say, US, Canada, India here. First of all, you have to select one country here. Then only you can select state. Till the time it will be empty. Suppose you have selected USA, then only USA states will come into the other drop-down. If you select Canada here, then Canada states will come into that field. If you select India, then Indian states will be coming into that field, right? Then you will select state. Once you select any state, corresponding cities will be available in the third city field. There is a data relationship in all these three fields. These are linked, right? This relationship we'll try to build tomorrow as part of the data page. Just giving you a context for tomorrow's session, that tomorrow it will be easy if you have a pretty mindset. Cool, that's all for our to the agenda, right? And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.